بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the part 2 of the prophets connected to Muharram month. 950 years. That is how long Prophet Nuh alayhi salam called his people to worship Allah alone. And at the end of it, narrated, only a handful believed him. His own wife rejected him. His own son rejected him. If you have ever felt like giving up, this story is for you.
950 years. Let me say that again just so your mind can really grasp it. 950 years. That is the exact length of time Prophet Nuh called his people to worship Allah alone. We're talking about almost an entire millennium of dawah, almost 1,000 straight years of rejection, mockery, insults, and absolute threats. Even his own wife, who lived right there with him under the same roof, didn't believe. His own son, his literal flesh and blood, rejected him. And yet, incredibly, Nuh never stopped. So you really have to ask yourself, what happens when you preach for a millennium and practically no one listens? If you've ever felt like throwing in the towel on a project or a righteous pursuit, well, this explainer is going to fundamentally shift your perspective. It's the ultimate masterclass in doing the hard work without tying your own self-worth to immediate results. Part 1, the trap of idolatry and how false power takes root. To really get Nuh's struggle, we have to look at the psychological trap his people fell into. Think about this from the perspective of Tawheed, the absolute oneness of Allah. What was the core of his message? His people were caught in a trap that has honestly ensnared human beings across almost every civilization. You see, it didn't happen overnight. When righteous people died, the first generation simply built statues in their memory. But slowly, generation by generation, those statues became objects of actual worship. They were given specific names, like Wad, Suwa, Yaguth, Ya'uk, and Nasr.
The crucial thing to understand here is that they weren't just worshiping stone. They were worshiping an idea. The dangerous idea that power somehow resided in something other than Allah. And Nuh came for 950 years saying just one thing. There is only one. He alone creates, He alone provides, and He alone hears your prayers. These statues, they cannot save you from what is coming.
The Quran actually captures his exact experience in Surah Nuh. And I want you to just listen to the raw exhaustion and pain in these words.
ربي إنه دعوت قومه ليلا ونهارا فلم ينزدهم دعائي إلك فرارا.
My Lord, I have called my people night and day, but my calling has not increased them except in flight. They literally put their fingers in their ears. They pulled their garments over their heads to hide. They refused to even look at him. They just laughed.
Part 2, the breaking point and the sign. Building an ark on dry land. So despite being mocked relentlessly, Noah just kept working. He was commanded by God to construct this massive ark on dry land, completely far away from any sea. The people mocked him, obviously, but Noah just kept building, waiting for a very specific divine command.
And then Allah gave the command. But what was the actual sign that the flood was beginning? It wasn't lightning. It wasn't some dark storm cloud rolling over the horizon like you might expect.
It was water, gushing from his oven. Literally, from a place of fire came water. That was the divine signal. Allah had told him, when you see water coming from your oven, load the ark. Take a pair of every animal, take the believers, and leave behind all who refused. The time had come.
Part 3, the flood and the sun, when the earth opens up. Now, the flood that followed, it was unlike any weather event humanity had ever seen or honestly will ever see again. It was a completely inescapable cosmic event.
Because it wasn't the kind of rainfall we're familiar with today. As the Quran describes in Surah Al-Qamar,
ففتحنا أبواب السماء بماء منحمر وفجرنا الأرض عيونا.
We opened the gates of the sky with pouring rain and caused the earth to burst forth with springs. So it was coming from above and below, simultaneously. The sky opened up and the earth itself became a massive bursting spring. Amidst these insane waves, literally as tall as mountains, a truly heartbreaking scene unfolded. Nuh called out to his son, "Oh, my son, come aboard with us. Do not be with the disbelievers." But his son stubbornly replied, "I will take refuge on a mountain. It will protect me from the water." The waves came between them, mountains of water, and his son was gone. Naturally, in his absolute grief, Nuh cried out to Allah for his son. And Allah's response, which is arguably one of the most emotionally charged verses in the entire Quran, was, "O Nuh, he is not of your family. Indeed, he is one whose work was unrighteous." Think about how profoundly that redefines human connection. Family is not blood. Family in the sight of Allah is faith. It's an absolutely staggering lesson on where our true loyalty actually lies. Part 4. The Landing and the Lesson. The 10th of Muharram. When the waters finally receded, the ark came to a safe rest on Mount Judy. Every single disbeliever on earth had been completely removed. Life was about to begin again. According to classical Islamic narrations recorded by Qatadah and referenced by Ibn Kathir and al-Tabari, they originally boarded the ark on the 10th of Rajab. They sailed for 150 days, and then, on the 10th of Muharram, they disembarked. And their very first action? They fasted that day in profound gratitude to Allah.
So, let's summarize what we really need to take away from this. The true miracle of Nuh is this. 950 years of relentless preaching produced very few believers. But on the exact day Allah commanded the flood, no idol, no statue, no false god could hold back even a single drop of water. No mountain was high enough.
The overarching lesson here is that the real miracle wasn't just the ark itself. It was his patience. Nearly a millennium of flat-out rejection, and he never altered his message. The only safety was inside the vessel built under Allah's direct instruction. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself, what is that one righteous pursuit in your life that you feel like giving up on right now? Remember Nuh, keep building your ark. Because ultimately, there is only one who controls water, wind, mountain, and sky. And his name was on the lips of every single survivor on that ark. Allahu Akbar.
Subscribe for part 3. Comment below, what is the one thing in your life that you feel like giving up on? Type it. And remember Nuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.